This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
It's precisely 6:15. This is the news on Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News is edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe, read by Sabrina Zawahir. The headlines. The President says he aims to prepare a governance structure with fair representation for each political party. European Union countries encourage Sri Lanka to pay attention to key ongoing processes. Sri Lanka invites UAE for broader cooperation. Information and Communication Technology Agency emphasizes that personal data is processed only for facilitating national fuel pass system. Incentives proposed for IT sector engineers earning US dollars. The final Randoli procession of Kandy Asela Festival will parade the streets tonight. And in world news, Japan records world's highest number of new COVID cases for third straight week. And in sports news, the Irish Rugby Football Union bans transgender women from competing in female contact rugby. Now the local news in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that he aims to prepare a governance structure with fair representation for each political party. He made those remarks during a discussion held at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday with several parties regarding the formation of an all-party government. The President said his main objective is to establish the National Assembly. He said representation of all parties and full representation of other parties and groups in the alliance are necessary for the purpose. President Wickremesinghe requested political parties to discuss and inform him whether they will represent the committee-based system or join the all-party government. Ambassadors of the European Union countries to Sri Lanka who met President Ranil Wickremesinghe has encouraged the President to devote special attention to ongoing key processes of GSP+, IMF and Human Rights Council. The EU said that it hopes that concrete steps would be taken by the Sri Lankan government to make those processes a success. The EU in Sri Lanka tweeted stating that they had a constructive meeting with President Wickremesinghe. It said the EU is a partner in challenging times and protection of civil and human rights, freedom of expression and right to dissent is of utmost importance. It further said that they agree bringing Sri Lanka back on track requires joint and inclusive action. Ambassador of the United Arab Emirates Khalid Nasir Al Amiri called on Sri Lanka's Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Minister Sabri briefed the UAE envoy yesterday on the current economic situation in Sri Lanka and the tangible action taken so far by the government to increase the resilience of the Sri Lankan economy. The foreign minister also invited the UAE to engage in broader cooperation with Sri Lanka in the field of agriculture, trade and investment. The UAE envoy congratulated the minister on his appointment as the Minister of Foreign Affairs and emphasized the importance of Sri Lanka-UAE bilateral relationship. He assured all possible support of his country to Sri Lanka. Information and Communication Technology Agency said any personal data provided by the public through online registration process located at fuelpass.gov.lk is processed only for the purpose of facilitating the use of the National Fuel Pass system. The NFP system provides the ministry and its stakeholders transparency and visibility to manage the fuel distribution supply chain in a more effective and efficient manner. The data is used only for verification purposes through an application programming interface which only verifies the data to offer the NFP service. No data is taken from the Department of Motor Traffic by either the Ministry or ICTA. The ministry, together with ICTA, is taking all necessary steps to maintain and manage personal data collected in an effective and secure manner. The data is solely used to validate information provided by users and manage the QR system and for no other purpose whatsoever, and the Ministry and ICTA have taken steps to ensure compliance with the Personal Data Protection Act No. 9 of 2022. This news is brought to you by Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
People's Bank, yes. Digital savings account, say yes to challenge.
Continuing local news. A proposal to extend the incentives provided to migrant workers to remote workers involved in the information and communication technology industry has been proposed by Labour and Foreign Employment Minister Manusha Nanayakara. He said the President responded positively to the proposal. Accordingly, he said software engineers working for offshore companies and earning their salaries in USD will be qualified to receive the benefits. The final Randoli Perahara of the Temple of the Tooth Relic in Kandy will parade the streets tonight. The Kandy SL Perahara took to the streets on the 2nd of August. The Randoli Perahara paraded the streets of Kandy from the 7th of August. Following the Randoli procession, the Kandy Asela festival will conclude tomorrow following the day procession and water cutting ceremony. The Kubul Perahara paraded the streets for 5 days till the 6th of August, while the Randoli Perahara paraded the streets of Kandy for 5 days. The sacred tooth relic will be taken to the Asgariya Gedige Viharaya following the grand Randoli procession. Power and Energy Minister Kanchana Wijayasekara says a ship carrying 35,000 metric tons of petrol will berth in Colombo Harbour tonight, and the discharging process is scheduled to begin tomorrow. He said the payments for the petrol ship were settled yesterday with the assistance of the central bank. Veteran broadcaster Harold Fernando passed away on Tuesday at the age of 86. A long-serving stalwart of the SLBC, he is a product of D. Mazarin College, Kandana. Harold rendered his devoted services to the English service of the SLBC until his untimely passing away. He made strenuous efforts to promote original Sri Lankan music and artists through his programs. He leaves his wife and 4 children. His remains are lying at Mahinda Funeral Parlour, Vattala. The cortege leaves tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. for burial at St. Mary's Church Cemetery, Marbola, Vattala. Epidemiology Unit of the Health Ministry says that 20 COVID-19 related deaths have occurred during the past 5 days, and the number of positive cases has surpassed 926. 9 COVID-related deaths were reported on Tuesday, while the chief epidemiologist requested the public to get the COVID booster dose from the nearest MOH office or hospital. He said that the booster doses is sufficient to the entire population of the country and has been stored in compliance with relevant standards. With that, we conclude the local news.
People's Bank, yes. Digital savings account, say yes to challenge.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The dates have been determined for the debate on the amended appropriation bill for 2022 that was tabled in Parliament on Tuesday. The Committee on Parliamentary Business said the debate will take place on the 30th and the 31st of August and on the 1st and the 2nd of September between 9:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Meanwhile, an adjournment debate on the electricity tariffs will be held on the 29th of August between 9:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. on a request from the opposition. That was main news.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
A Strength to Your Life. CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. Valuable gifts and all bills are on 31st of October. Come to CIB today.
Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka says there will be no power cuts today and on Sunday. However, the PUCSL has approved 1 hour power cut for tomorrow and Saturday. Accordingly, the areas that come under A to L and P to W will experience 1 hour power cut from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. That was Watchlight.
A strength to your life. CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. Valuable gifts and all bills are on 31st of October. Come to CIB today.
Moving on to world news. Taking a look at the headlines of the world news. Japan records world's highest number of new COVID cases for third straight week. An Indian man wins 22-year court battle against railways over 25 cents. Disney overtakes Netflix in battle for subscribers. Now the world news in detail. The World Health Organization says Japan reported the highest number of new COVID-19 cases for any country in the world during the week through Sunday. Japan had the highest number of new cases in the world for the third week in a row. The WHO released its weekly update on coronavirus on Wednesday. Globally, 6,980,516 new infections were confirmed during the week from August 1st to 7th, up to 3% from the previous week. Japan reported 1,496,968 cases, up to 9% from the previous week. An Indian man who won a case related to an overpriced railway ticket after almost 22 years. Tunganath Chaturvedi, a lawyer, was charged 20 rupees extra for 2 tickets he had bought in 1999. The incident occurred at Mathura Cantonment Railway Station in the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. A consumer court last week ruled in Mr. Chaturvedi's favour and asked the railways to refund the amount with interest. Disney will launch a new ad-supported streaming service in the US in December as it overtakes Netflix in the race for paid subscribers. The firm reported 221.1 million subscribers across its 3 streaming platforms at the start of July. That puts it just ahead of Netflix, which has been losing customers. But Disney warned that its loss of streaming rights for cricket in India would reduce its subscriber growth compared to previous forecasts. That ends world news. Prior to concluding the headlines of the world news once again. Japan records world's highest number of new COVID cases for third straight week. An Indian man wins 22-year court battle against railways over 25 cents. Disney overtakes Netflix in battle for subscribers. That ends world news. Moving on to development news. Housing schemes which are carried out using Indian assistance in the south and in the north is to be expedited following an order from Housing and Construction Minister Prasanna Ranatunga. Some 24 housing projects are being carried out in Hambantota and 1 in Mathura. In addition, 26 more projects will be implemented in Hambantota. Total number of houses that are to be constructed in the south are 1,200, while construction work on 465 houses have already begun. A sum of 600 million rupees is to be received from India for these projects. That was development news.
Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
The Irish Rugby Football Union has confirmed it will ban transgender women from competing in female contact rugby games after a review of the governing body's transgender policy. It means contact rugby for players in the female category will be limited to those whose sex was recorded as female at birth. The IRFU's new policy will come into effect from the forthcoming season. It said the decision was based on medical and scientific evidence. Taking a look at tennis, An emotional Serena Williams has admitted she is terrible at goodbyes following defeat by Belinda Bencic in the second round of the Canadian Open. The 23-time Grand Slam champion lost 6-2, 6-4 in Toronto in the first match since announcing she will be evolving away from tennis. The American, aged 40, received a standing ovation on court and had the full backing of the crowd throughout. And taking a look at athletics, Shelley Ann Fraser-Price ran the fourth fastest ever women's 100 meters, 10.62 seconds to win at the Diamond League in Monaco. The five-time world 100-meter champion 35 bettered her own mark for the fastest 100-meter of the year, having clocked 10.66 seconds in Poland on Saturday. She has now run the third and fourth fastest women's 100 meters times ever. That was sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Commercial Bank has been declared as the most respected bank in Sri Lanka for the 18th consecutive year and has retained its ranking as the 4th most respected corporate entity in the country overall. This has been stated in the 2022 Most Respected Entities in Sri Lanka rankings published by the LMD magazine. The bank was also ranked 2nd overall for financial performance, honesty and vision. That was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Innovate Lanka, a one-stop shop for entrepreneurs, is gearing up to select, fund, mentor and accelerate the budding startups and SMEs with the launch of its 2022 competition. The initiative, a platform that assists startups or SMEs with an innovative idea, helping them with funding, accelerating and mentoring until maturity or exit, is open to receiving applications from today till the end of August. This competition aims to fund the early-stage startups and SMEs that clearly solve a problem with an innovative solution for a large addressable market. That was Economic News.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Finally, we take a look at the weather report. The Met Department forecasts showers in the western and Sabaragamuwa provinces and in the Galle, Matara, Kandy and Nuwara districts today. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere. The Met Department said strong winds about 50 kilometers can be expected at times over the western slopes of the Central Hills, northern and north central provinces and in the Hambantota and Trincomalee districts. That was the weather report. Prior to concluding this bulletin of news, the headlines once again. The President says he aims to prepare a governance structure with fair representation for each political party. European Union countries encourage Sri Lanka to pay attention to key ongoing processes. Sri Lanka invites UAE for broader cooperation. Information and Communication Technology Agency emphasizes that personal data is processed only, facilitating National Fuel Pass system. Incentives proposed for IT sector engineers earning US dollars. The final Randoli procession of Kandy SLA Festival will parade the streets tonight. With that, we conclude the news.